have a cold open for this week?
No, but I have a new candle. We're burning Coastal Wind and Lavender.
Don't burn yourself, but that is wonderful.
It's got a wood wick, so it's like crackling in my ear. It's like really ambiance.
I am very jealous of your candle game.
Yeah, my candle game is strong. If there's anything about me, it's that I have like a buttload of candles.
I feel like I always go for like the forest scents, which is like great, but how much variety can you get out of like pine trees and timber? And it's all kind of like woodland stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're a guy, so that tracks.
It fits, right? Exactly. But like all the beachy stuff or flowery, like anything that's got any kind of like variation or spice to it, I'm just like, nah. I think I'll just go with pine for the 45th time in a row.
Felt. Also, it's a new month, but my calendar right here still says April, so I need to do that.
Yeah, you gotta. It's already the second. You're well behind us.
Very far behind. Well, to be fair, I also did not put the first couple of days of May on the bottom of the April calendar. So
yeah, we're already getting right into May here. And to our audience, happy May. I hope you're enjoying the flowers. We're done with the April showers.
Speak for yourself.
Well, Texas is always going its own path. So I'm gonna leave it to you there. But I'm Andrew. That's D. And welcome back to the AHL pre-show. We are just right into it with playoff action here. Moving on a lot. We got, RIP, a lot of teams that weren't able to join us here. And is this round 2 technically? But
yeah, it's like the semifinal. No, it's round 2 because like teams get buys into the semifinal, which this is why is your playoff structure so complicated, American Hockey League.
It's a spiritual round 1, but an actual round 2.
Yeah,
that's the way I decide on it, and I'm going with it. I'm going to continue rolling with it. So if you hear me call it round 1, well, humor me. That's all I ask.
He means semifinals.
Yes, division semifinals. It's really kind of like the technical term, I guess, but it's we're actually at 16 teams. It's like an actual playoff bracket now, as opposed to like this Frankenstein tree where it's like there's 9 teams over here, but there's only 5 teams here. Some teams are playing, some teams are waiting, some teams have 1 team on bye, some teams have 2. None of it made sense, but now it kind of does. So round one that makes sense. The first one. Okay, we're gonna go with it. Where do you want to start? I want to start in the West. Do you want to start in the West?
The West is fun.
I feel like we start in the East very often because of time zones, and let's go to the West. And I want to go to a series that was very near and dear to my heart last year because drama, and it was Coachella Valley and Calgary last season was an absolute juggernaut battle.
So yeah, the Flames, the teams with fire.
Exactly, right? And how could you not expect fireworks when you have like Wranglers and Flames on one side and actual Phoenix Firebirds on the other? But it's got a bit of a different feel this time around, only by virtue of Calgary being the 7 seed, which, if you want to be speaking on technical terms, round 2, round 1 type deal, yes, they finished 7th in the division. They're the 7th seed. Are they the 7th best team in the Pacific, though?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. They didn't have Dustin Wolf for some stretches this season where he was, all the way down on the other locker room and with the Flames, so he didn't see it. I mean, saw a lot of time with the Wranglers, but not his usual, like, I'm going to play 60 games this year type deal.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a dominate the AHL season like we're used to seeing from Dustin Wolf.
Which is hilarious because he still had, like, a 240 goals against average and like a 920 save percentage. We're like, this is a down year for Dustin Wolf.
Yeah, which is crazy considering. But like, shoot, yeah, I think, and that's gonna be like the focal point of the series is goaltending. Both of these goaltenders are so close in like their regular season records. That's going to be the entire storyline of that, especially considering like Wolf is already in playoff form. Like he didn't have that bye series. He's had a couple games to warm up. He had incredible numbers in those 2 games, even though he let 3 in. Like the Roadrunners were still like throwing everything at him, and he stopped all but 3 in 2 games. Like it's incredible. The return of Dustin Wolf has been exciting for the AHL.
Absolutely. And like he was kind of the villain in that series, because Tucson was, the kind of the team that that whole region was rallying around, with everything going on with Arizona. Question marks about Tucson and where they were going to go, and it kind of feels like they're staying for the time being, but obviously it's a fluid situation. But they had Dylan Genther come in, Josh Doan was sent back down. A number of Coyotes were assigned to Tucson in the anticipation that this team was going to go on a long run for a Calder Cup. And immediately, first roadblock is Dustin Wolf, and he just slams the door shut. This whole feel-good Cinderella story, just boom, slams the door right in their face, and they're moving on, and they have their absolute own demons to slay here. After how last season went and all the records that they were breaking in Calgary, to lose to Coachella in the manner they did, and overtime in Game 5, it was just heartbreaking. And I have to imagine that the Wranglers, they lost their coach, and Mitch Love going to Washington. A lot of players moving on. Sure, there's a good core there from last year, but of course it's it begins and ends with Dustin Wolf, as you said. And if you don't think he wants to go and get some revenge against this Coachella squad, if he wants to finally beat Andrew Podorowski for his 3rd straight postseason, I think this kid's going to be he's going to take another step in this series. I'm super excited for it.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be fun. But, like, goaltending aside, right, though, like, these 2 teams, obviously, like, they're the best and most exciting teams in the West. I mean, I would say that they're probably 2 of the most exciting teams in. Hey, come on, I know your heart's in the West, but like, are you really gonna look at me and you're gonna say that like the teams on fire aren't like on fire?
Yes, yes, I'll give you that. They are on fire. I'm biased. Okay, you just gotta let me live with my bias. It hurt a little bit,
Okay, but what if we talk about like the geographic west of North America?
Yes.
Does that work for you?
I can live with that. Yes.
Okay, sweet. But again, just like goaltending, defense is also going to play a really big role in this. Both teams certainly have goal scorers or playmakers. They both certainly have offensive weapons. You have like 3 players in Calgary that all have a goal and an assist just in 2 games. There were like 6 games or 6 goals scored for Calgary in those 2 games. I mean, they shut out the Roadrunners, but like they have the offensive weapons on both ends. Obviously, like I don't know, it's just insane. Coachella Valley has Cole Lind, who doesn't have that many goals, but the dude's got 48 assists. Like it's crazy, absolute playmaker ability right there. They have the offensive weapons. They have the power, like, to make this super high scoring games. And if they are given the opportunity, they will. I think we also have to look at the defense on those guys. The defense, whether or not they can shut down that offensive power. Let's say like a really good comparable that we all just watched happen in real time is the Colorado Avalanche eliminating the Winnipeg Jets, because even though there's incredible goaltending out of Connor Hellebuck, the defense in front of him had no answer for all of the Colorado Avalanche, who were scoring across all 4 lines.
And that's going to be, I think, a big key for if you're seeing someone like Dustin Wolf on the other side. You got to kind of have the same game plan of like getting someone in his face and make if he can see the puck, he's
stopping the puck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's a really good comparable. You have two superstar teams, two with really heavy firepower, two teams with incredible goaltending, and then they're going head to head. The defense on both ends has to be top notch. And we just watched what happens in real time when the defense on one end is incredible and the other one is pretty Civ-like.
Yeah, Winnipeg's defense looked a lot like my Wednesday night adult league team. Just keeping guys right in front of the net the whole time, and our poor goalie. Shout out to Sam. You try your best.
But yeah, so that's the comparable that I've got for it. Just obviously keeping up both leagues. Defense and goaltending are going to be like the main topics of conversation, just because we already know both teams can score.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like, in Coachella, you got guys like Cam Hughes. I already mentioned Podorowski, obviously Lind. There's a number of guys still down there that were here last year, and they made it all the way to Game 7 of the finals, and more heartbreak. But you got heartbreak on one side, heartbreak on the other. I mean, that's just kind of what happens there in the playoffs.
Well, somewhere they meet in the middle too, where it's like, all right, well, we have to prove we can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
On one side, and on the other side is like, well, we're not doing that again.
Right.
So it meets in the middle. It's like I love playoff rematches because especially when you have a lot of the same players returning, because blood is boiling, stakes are higher, tempers run higher. You get a lot of fun hockey out of it.
Yeah.
That's gonna this series is either gonna be boring because everybody's playing a trap game and nobody's doing anything, or it's gonna be exciting, high flying West Coast hockey.
I love a redemption story. I would love to see the Wranglers continue to again. I know there's 7 seed, but if you could, I guess, technically call this an upset, but it's not. I don't want to play it up like it's David versus Goliath, because this is not your normal 7 seed. That being said, I can't find it in me to discredit a team that's got Andrew Podorowski on it to bow out this early. He's just terrorized Dustin Wolf the last 2 years in the playoffs, including Game 5 overtime winner last year, when he really probably shouldn't even been playing. I don't know the extent of his knee injury, but it looked like one of those season enders. He just comes back in the playoffs and then ends your team's year. Bye-bye now. That was rough, but it's hard for me, as much as I would like to see Calgary continue the run. This is a tough draw for them. I don't know.
I think it's an uphill battle enough for both teams that they're on even footing. Like they're on equal ground. Like neither one of them, I think, really has the leg up. On one hand, you've got a team that has played 2 playoff games, that has kind of got stayed in form. On the other hand, you have one that's been not playing and maybe, doing scrimmages and stuff at practice, but no matter what you do for a scrimmage, it's never going to be exactly like a game. So on one hand, you got a team that's maybe a little bit more tired, but on the other hand, too much rest is a good thing. There is such thing as too much rest.
Yeah, if Coachella comes out flat and Calgary catches them in a game, that could end up swinging the whole momentum in this whole series. It's going to be a fun one. I think, outside of the personal bias, watching outside of the beat, this might be my favorite one of the first round. I'm just going to keep going with
the second round.
Do you want to go to the East now?
We can go back.
Let's go back over the East. Let's go back over the East. Yeah. We got, that crazy North division. We got a really good matchup we got coming on here. It's actually already gone through 2 games there, and the Rochester Americans and the Syracuse Crunch. Syracuse at game 2 was able to get an overtime winner there from. Now I know you're gonna skewer me for my pronunciation of a Quebecois name, but Gabriel Fortier.
That's pretty close.
Okay, good enough. I'll give myself close to that. Anyway, he gets the winner in overtime. Syracuse evens the series out. That's I mean, you got to think in Rochester, you had a bit of an opportunity to slip through your fingers there, but this wasn't going to be easy for them, right?
No, I mean, it's Rochester and Syracuse. They're 2 of the biggest thorns in the north sides. Like, they're 2 teams where, like, even before this season where they were dominating the standings, they're 2 teams where it's like, all right, well, we're gonna have to get through them if we want to keep on our upward advancement. They've been that way for a while now. I mean, even if they're not, like, they're barely making it into the playoffs, or they're making it into the playoffs and, like, getting eliminated by the Laval Rocket for no reason, like, they're still massive thorns in people's sides. Like, if 2 teams deserve to be there, it's those 2 teams.
Mm-hmm. I know it's only been 2 games, but I remember last year Yuri Kulik being an absolute menace in terms of goal scoring. He hasn't really quite shown up yet in the series. He's got 1 assist. Okay, it's only been 2 games. I'm wondering when this sleeping giant is going to wake up for Rochester, and then Syracuse is really going to be in trouble. I know they got a young stud in that, and Devin Levi. He's going to be leaned on pretty heavily going into Syracuse there, and Rochester's been a really good road team. I think that they can cause some problems. This is in the division of chaos. This is as chaotic as it gets between these 2 squads.
It's another evenly matched, like, matchup. That's why the ones where it's like, oh well, yeah, one team's obviously gonna win that one, and then maybe there's an upset, or like when it's clearly like 2 very unevenly matched teams, that's one thing. But when they're so evenly matched, and not even necessarily like for the same reason, right? No idea. Anyway, but it's not even necessarily for the same reasons, right? If you look at Calgary and Coachella Valley going in, they have very similar offensive power. They have very similar defense. They have very similar goaltending. Those 2 are 2 teams where it's like they're the same color. Like, you can just kind of put jerseys, like the other jersey on the team, and be like, I don't think I'm watching anything different. With Rochester and Syracuse, you have 2 very different teams. They play 2 very different styles of hockey, but they're still like anything could happen in this series. I mean, like, it's tied, and this is one of the ones where it's like one of them could have very easily have pulled out to a 2-0 lead already, but it's tied. Do you know why they're evenly matched? It's because these are 2 teams that have no quit in them. None. No quit. They play to the very last second. Like, anything can happen with them, even though they've got, like, I don't know, very wildly different styles of hockey. I say wildly different. It's like wildly different for the North, and by that I mean there's very nuanced differences in their styles of play. It's not like the West, like everybody's got like their brand of hockey. There's like nuanced differences in these games because it's such a tight division. But yeah, this one could go either way because, again, there's no quit. There's no give up. I mean, you've got like such hardworking players. And I would say like both of these teams have veterans of the AHL that have been with the same team, with the same like staff and coaching staff, and like they know their team. They play for the pride of their team because they've just been battling through it for so long. It's one of those things where the will to dominate all life on Middle Earth is going to be the thing that wins out in this one.
Last I checked, Sauron wasn't on any of these rosters, or it was a owner or coach or anything. And I don't see anyone with a giant white hand on the mask, which is actually a great concept for a goalie mask.
Yeah, I might have to update mine, actually. Really
I wouldn't have. Have you ever, quick sidebar, have you ever just taken your hand and buried it in a bowl of flour and then put it on your dog's head and asked them who do they serve?
No, because my dog's a moron, so.
Swear the Urukai.
I mean, not really. They do really well for what they're bred for.
Yeah, but they also die by the bunches. Anyway.
Well, yeah, because they're deployed by the bunches,
That's
and
what
also, their main battle tactic to get through a wall is I'm just gonna blow this up with a bunch of us in the vicinity of it. It's not like they were back blast area all clear, and they're like, hold on a second, we gotta get to safety.
No, collateral damage and acceptable casualties are just two very wild concepps that they never really grafted fully in.
They never had to. When you can just rebreed your army that quickly, you don't have to worry about training them so much because they are literally bred for this. It's not like the Rohirrim where you have to take a young child and teach it to ride a horse and then
evil has different logistics. Anyway, that's the sidebar of this series. What I really love though is of staying on Gabe Fortier, and I feel like the heroes of this series aren't going to be your Yuri Kuliks or your Gage Conclaves, the guys who are up top. It's going to be I have to scroll down.
No, wait, who? Gage who?
I no, I'm not repeating it. You heard it.
Did you mean Gonçalves?
Yeah, I messed it up. Okay, I'm reading the name.
He meant Gonçalves.
Anyway, the hero isn't going to be at your usual suspects. It's going to be the guy you got to scroll down through the depth chart and you find him, and he's going to be your game 5 overtime hero. It's not going to okay, over in Coachella, it's going to be Cole Lind or Podorowski or one of these guys. Those are the guys that team leans on to produce big in big moments. Over here, it's going to be a guy that you swipe, you roll through, and it's oh yeah, Zach Metza, yeah, that seems like a game 5 overtime hero kind of name, and which I think adds a little bit of intrigue because you don't know if this shift is going to be the shift. If it's you kind of might fall asleep if Podorowski's not out there on the ice, but you got to keep in mind every single guy has the potential to be a game breaker on either of these rosters, and that really kind of helps you kind of keep engaged in there.
That's what I'm saying. It's the nuanced differences between them that's gonna decide which one wins the thing, because they're wildly different except they're not.
Exactly. It's different but the same.
Same, but different, but still same.
Let's keep it in the East, shall we? Because I got a bit of a bone to pick with the Providence Bruins.
Is it that they could not just use a normal word for an animal and they had to go with some antiquated word for bear? I know it's Boston's fault, but
is that why they always continue to choke in the playoffs? Because I feel like year after year, they just can't figure it out. And maybe it's the antiquated way of doing it, because in the modern world, you're supposed to chew your food before you swallow it. And Providence just keeps wanting to get after it, finish at the top of the standings every year in the Atlantic. And then playoff round 1 happens and they just fall apart. Or 2 years ago when it was round 0, I guess I would call it. The opening.
of choking because you didn't swallow your food, the other day I almost died on a fruit gusher. Because it got stuck to my teeth because they're like really sticky. So it got stuck to my teeth and I like dislodged it, but then I like swallowed it really quickly and I was like,
what was that noise?
That's the exact noise I made.
Oh my God.
All that to say, I know how Providence feels.
I think we've all been there, whether it's been a fruit gusher or some other perhaps less embarrassing way to choke yourself. But at the end of the day, it's still choking. It doesn't matter if it's to 38-year-old Corey Schneider or if it's to Dylan Garand, who I'm sorry, I don't know what your age is, but I'm sure it's not 38 or whatever Corey's was. And they have another old, it's Hartford again. You're running it back after Garand ripped your heart out last year. Here's again kind of your rematch, your redemption, and you blow game one. You blew it. You blew game one. Okay, which isn't the end of the world. I don't want to like pile on Providence because obviously there's still at most 4 more games in this series. But when you have a history of it and it starts to rear its ugly head, do you know why we all pile on the Toronto Maple Leafs? It's because they have a history of doing this same thing with the fruit gusher. And so when you start to roll back into those patterns, when you start not chewing your food, it's your parents and your loved ones are going to start criticizing you more and more and more because you have you're rolling through those same bad habits.
And you're 28 years old and you should be able to eat fruit gushers without dying. You've been doing it since you were like 3. Okay, I do want to say though, like, I don't know that we can attribute all of that just to providencing, Bruining, if you will, Bruining their own lives. Bruining their own lives. Hartford wants the win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Hartford came out and said, we don't have a tone. Let's set one, and set the tone.
Mm-hmm. A minute in, they were already up 1-0. 5 minutes in, they're already up 2-0. And I feel like Providence was like a bit shell-shocked early on. And, the efforts of Jimmy Lambert brought them back in. And then Tyler Pitlick said, nope, I'm taking that back away. And then
Pitlicks, I've never found a Pitlick that plays hockey that I don't love.
I have never found a Pitlick who didn't end up getting claimed on waivers about 15 times.
Yeah. But I've never met a Pitlick that I don't love. Rest in peace, Montreal Pitlicks.
Rest in peace. What happened to them?
They all got not on the team anymore.
R.I.P. their Montreal careers at least. Oh my man, I thought it was like,
my God,
what happened?
The Montreal Pitlicks.
How many of them were there? There was Rem. Okay, I know Rem.
I'll give you one guess.
Well, and then Tyler, I was imagining.
There you go.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure if there's like you made it seem like there was like 4 of them.
I mean, there's like 3 of them total, right?
But there's another one?
I think so.
Oh my. Well, we'll get investigating on that, but for the artist formerly known as Montreal's Tyler Pitlick had 1 goal and 2 assists there in game 1. That was valiant first star effort. It's you gotta plenty of time there for Providence, but Hartford's going to be playing with house money. They've been here last year. They got a really good goalie in that. I'm a big fan of Dylan Garand. Ever since I watched him in last year's playoffs doing this exact same thing, I'm like, you know what? He is, as the kids say, him. And
the kids nowadays say my pronouns are he, not him, because I'll never be him.
Well, Dylan Garand doesn't have that issue, though, because he is allegedly him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, my pronouns are he, not him.
Okay. I'm old. I'm still trying to figure all this out.
I work with 16-year-olds.
Oh, that's got to be terrible.
That's not great.
I feel like I'm working with 16-year-olds a lot when I'm actually interviewing a lot of these players, and I'm like, oh wait, you're just a child. You're an actual.
Yeah, they're 18.
Oh man, don't remind me. So like, Providence has to. They got to do something, right? Because otherwise, they're just going to keep on keeping on, and it's. What do they got to do to change it up? There's got to be, I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it's a lineup thing. I don't know if it's just a bounces aren't going their way.
They gotta want it. Like they gotta want it as much as Hartford does. This is the Hartford freaking Wolf Pack. All right, they hit rock bottom when a Hallmark movie was made about them. Yeah,
Oh, I forgot about that.
they gotta come back from that.
Oh,
This is the Hartford freaking Wolf Pack. Like they like come on, like you can't be more embarrassing than a Hallmark movie is made, a really bad one. You know, some of them are like bad, and then some of them are like really bad. Some are like really bad.
they all just fall into the bad category for me.
No, because some of them are good. Because Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey, the Gordie Howe story was a Hallmark movie.
I don't know about that.
It chronicled his time with the Houston Aeros.
Is that why it's good?
No, it's actually really good.
Oh, well, I was going to say that I sense some hometown bias, but...
No, it was actually it's really well regarded in the hockey movie lore. But yeah, no, Providence has to want it. Like, Providence has to want it. Hartford came in, they won it. They battled the entire season to maintain their position in the standings. They have to want it. And if Providence doesn't want it as much as Hartford does, Hartford will continue to build on their confidence that they are gaining, having absolutely destroyed the morale for Providence in game one. It's not like they lost game one, had to come back, and they're like, all right, we'll take it. We're rallying. Don't call it a comeback. Like, don't call it a comeback. They've been here the whole time.
PSA to everyone out there, chew your food, especially your gushers. You don't want to end up like the Bruins here. So
yeah, you don't want to end up ruining your life.
Don't ruin it. You're ruining it for all of us here.
This is nice things. Providence.
I try and be nice to my fellow Italian Americans over there in Rhode Island, but you gotta earn it. You gotta earn it. This time of the year, it's not gonna be handed to you.
Yeah, because like I can already barely see your state on the map, so like I need you to figure it out.
Smallest state in the U.S., right? Yeah.
Rhode Island, yeah. You know what? Like, honestly, truly can't relate. Second largest by land area.
Well, if you added water area in there, we'd probably be pretty far up. So
second largest by land area.
Well, all right. Well, I'll give you that one. I mean, it is Texas, so
massive.
You guys used to be your own country anyway, so.
Yeah, you know, we used to be bigger, right? We used to encompass like a bunch of New Mexico and like basically all of Oklahoma and some of Arkansas.
So really, it's like you guys are like slipping a little bit, like getting a little smaller and smaller until.
No, what happened was we looked at a map of the Republic of Texas and we were like, this aesthetically will not translate to cute keychains. So what we need to do is change the size and shape so that it looks like it's a really cute keychain. And now Texas has an iconic shape.
Big keychain over there changing our lives, and it's not fair how they have such power over us. Anyway, let's get back to the West. We have one more series to cover here. One that's very near and dear to my heart. You already know. I mean, I'm just bringing him back out.
Wait.
He can represent. Driedger represents Rockford in this situation. He does kind of look like Hammy.
No, Driedger.
I mean, it's
possible Sith Lord, definite.
Darth Jar Jar, like the Darth Jar Jar. I'm not convinced in the Darth Jar Jar
No,
theory.
Jar Jar is just an unfortunate himbo who got caught up in politics.
He did end up becoming like a senator, which is incredible. Could you
Yeah,
imagine Senator Jar Jar like coming over like
he got exiled from Otagunga, first of all, and then he like reinvented himself because he made the right friends, and then nepotism.
I think he had some shadow government backing from Yoda. And now next thing you know, Misa gonna raise your taxes. So
Yeah, but I mean it's all cool because they restructured the Senate into the First Galactic Empire. So
yep. So R.I.P. Jar Jar's promising political career.
Yeah.
As we look here into Grand Rapids and Rockford, kind of exactly how I was expecting, at least game one. Game one, Rockford kind of jumps out early. Michael Tepley scores. Zach Sanford scores 2-0 in Rockford. You kind of figure, okay, well, it's their home barn. They're starting off game one. It's a little weird, but AHL playoffs. Grand Rapids scores twice in the third period. And then some controversy in overtime as Austin Czarnik kind of takes Brett Sini for a ride into the boards. Fans expecting a call. In fact, I believe it was Wyatt Kaiser stepping up instead of staying back and playing defense. He goes and says, hey, I thought I told you. Next thing you know, Jonathan Berggren's going the other way, slips it in 5-hole. Grand Rapids victory in game one. Almost starts a line brawl with all the players coming off to celebrate. And then game two, you're feeling good. Grand Rapids going back home. Fans haven't seen a playoff game in about 5 years. You feel this is great. Rockford just dummies them in game two, 5-1. And now we're going in on Friday. Homeboy over here's got a credential for that one. We're going to be on site at Van Andel Arena, and I don't know what to expect. Rockford absolutely took it to them and just suffocated the Griffins. It was tight checking as I expected, but not you. Here you go, Grand Rapids, 10 shots halfway through the game, kind of clamp down style. It was really just that. It kind of broke my heart a little bit to see the Griffins struggling to just gain the neutral zone. I feel like Rockford did a really good job at shutting it all down, and then next thing you know, they're just piling goals up and getting in Sebastian Cosa's face. They had 3 deflections and 1 rebound of a guy right in front of the net. Help your goalie, boys. Help your goalie. Give him some help. We just pointed it out with Colorado and Winnipeg in the show. If he can see it, he's going to stop it. So if your goalie can't see it, maybe box the guy out. It's playoffs. It's going to be physical. You got to roll them sleeves up and help your goalie. Goalie. We all love our goalies.
It's the weird trend that like lately it's like goalies are getting screened. Like successfully screened because nobody's clearing the lanes. It's weird. It's like I thought, what's the point of having defensemen?
Right.
Defensemen are for the defensive zone. So what
unless your last name is Hughes.
Or McCarr.
Or McCarr.
McCarr.
Hey, they're all about to win a Norris Trophy. Good for them. Oh, that's a different rant for a different time. But yeah, the Griffins have to start helping Cosa out a little bit more. And the power play has to be fixed. Where has the power play been? Special was just a disaster all over in game 2. 2 power play goals given up, 3 power play opportunities, 0 goals. You have Jonathan Berggren, Simon Edvinsson, Marco Kasper, Carter Mazer, Joel Esperance is a veteran of scoring big goals in this league. You have Austin Czarnik. You have Matt Luff, who has a windup that goes up to the moon and he hammers those one-timers like they're NASA rockets. There is just too much talent on this Grand Rapids team for you to continue to go over on the power play game after game after game after game after game. They look discombobulated on their entries. When they have possession, they just don't look like they know where to go. They don't have confidence when they're up a man. And that's really telling of where this team's at mentally when they're on the man advantage.
Shout out to Rockford for taking advantage of that, though.
Oh, absolutely. They made it look, I wouldn't say easy, but they had a game plan and they absolutely executed it.
Yeah, I mean, you can always tell too when like a power play is struggling and a penalty kill is just really well suited to disrupting that power play even more, because it's when you can start to be like, what is happening? I thought you had the man advantage. Why are you not even cycling the puck?
Right.
Like, you can always tell when a penalty kill is really well suited to further disrupting an already struggling power play. Shout out to Rockford for taking like the little like holes that were in that and poking them even bigger and making it even more difficult for an already struggling power play. That's hockey. It's not a fair game. You can talk parity all you want, but hockey is not a fair and balanced game. It's a game of strategy, and it's a game of like it's a war game. Hockey is a war game.
And those are going to be those little battles are going to be the ones that eventually build into the ones that you build into victories. And that's why, Rockford's got game 2 in their hand and Grand Rapids is game 1 in their pocket. Now, for the Griffins, you just got to take all that game film, take that entire reel, douse it in gasoline, and just light it on fire because there was nothing really to build on. I mean, other than take everything that Rockford did well and game plan around that. But everything that you did, well, first off, the reel is probably about that big. So there's not much to study. And just you gotta figure it out. You got to find ways to change. You gotta change your strategy up. You got to take what Rockford's going to give you, and find some space in the middle of the ice for one. This stuff around the perimeter is not going to get it done. This is the postseason. You gotta just as I said before, you gotta roll them sleeves up. You gotta get to the front of the net. You gotta make life miserable for whether it's Jackson Stauber or Drew Comesso. Rockford's already used 2 goalies in this one. It doesn't matter. The way that Rockford played in game 2, it's not going to matter if I'm in that. They're going to – okay, I won't go that far. But it will –
let's maybe put somebody with like some actual –
yeah, I was like, well, check that back. I mean, I wasn't a terrible street hockey goalie, but this is a little different. It's a little different. Anyway. Okay, yeah, I'd give you probably a better chance, but point being is that if Grand Rapids continues to play on the outside, they continue to let Rockford clog up the neutral zone, clog up the front of the net, take away Sebastian Costa's eyes. This could be really quick. Friday's going to be a different energy. There's going to be even more fans packing up in Van Andel Arena, $2 beer night, so they're going to be rowdy.
Use that energy.
Use the energy, yes, and
feed off of it. That's what your home barn is for your energy. It's not just for like, I'm watching hockey. Yes, I enjoy this leisure time activity. No, it's for getting loud, getting rowdy, backing your team. They need you even when they're struggling. I think, though, Grand Rapids, what they really need to do is take the Herb Brooks approach and go back to basics. Like, reacquaint themselves with the basics. And instead of focusing on, like, all right, this is what we're doing, focusing on it opens up what? Options. They need options. They tend to pigeonhole themselves into committing to a play, and they don't have a backup plan. They don't have a way to bail themselves out when, there's defense. I'm going up against defense. Like, I forgot the other back check.
Isn't that a concept? Legs feed the wolves, as everyone knows. So I feel like we got to talk about some predictions here. I know I kind of already mentioned it in Calgary and Coachella, so we'll skip that one.
Yeah.
The other ones that we talked about, Rochester, Syracuse, that one feels like a coin flip, right?
It does. I think personally, I'm going to take Syracuse on that one. And that is literally just because, like, come on, like, I've seen Syracuse. Like, I've been, like, my former beat played Syracuse so often. I know that, like, having watched them, there's no quit in that team. They also have the firepower in Syracuse. They get a lot of depth scoring in Syracuse as well. They roll 4 lines. They play to the very last second. I've got Syracuse just because my gut's telling me that Syracuse has the better chance. It is a coin toss, but I would like it to be Syracuse.
I'm just going off the vibes. Rochester's got a bunch of Swedes. Rochester's got a fun goalie, and that I'm gonna take the Americans. Yeah, why not? In my experience, the Swedes have always come out with the best vibes. Now, whether that always translates to wins, we won't talk about that. I like Rochester in that one.
All right.
They got good meatballs. What can I say?
I'm a really big fan of flat pack furniture.
No! Yes.
I learned a new one. Okay.
That's fantastic. I love that those show up. It's just like the best moments.
No, look, I learned a new one. If I go like this for too long, usually birthday balloons.
Oh, hey.
Show up.
I don't know how that translates to birthday balloons, but you know what? I'll take it.
I don't know.
What about is Providence going to learn to chew their food?
I don't know. Like I said, Hartford wants it more. It was evident from like puck drop. Hartford wants it more, and I think Hartford finally has the team to be able to want it. And let's quote Herb Brooks again: "Go take it." Like they want it more.
I am going to say that last year, the Boston Bruins setting the record for most points and then choking at the highest level is like, you can't choke any more than that, right? Like, eventually, the rest of the organization is going to learn to overcome that adversity and finish the job. I think it's going to take all 5 games, but I think the Bruins are going to stop ruining everyone's postseason experience. I think they're going to come out with this. I say this for all of my Italian American cousins out there in Providence. I really hope they do it because it's going to be a 3rd straight year of sadness. I don't think I could. I want that for Providence fans, so I'm going.
Nobody wants that for them, but again, like, this is the best Wolfpack we've seen in a long time. You know what I mean?
True. Like, I do love. I played off Dylan Grand and how good that Wolfpack team was going.
This is a really
but the Italian Americans are over here. So
I know it's a really good Wolfpack though, and like I said, they want it more. The Wolfpack have been kind of like rebuilding their identity as a team, like kind of outside of the entire organization. The Wolfpack are starting to be like, yeah, we're the Hartford Wolfpack. We're not just a product of whoever our parent club is sending us. We are the Hartford Wolfpack. They've been rebuilding that team identity for the past few seasons, and it's finally showing up, and they want it. They're a team that is really big fans of a Duran Duran song, Hungry Like the Wolf. I'm just quoting everybody but myself today. They want it. They're hungry. They want it. They want to reestablish themselves and leave their footprint.
I dig it. Last one. Griffins and Ice Piggies.
I got Hammy.
You got ham and eggs.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I'm not. I mean, you've already stabbed me once, and with that, but I'm not gonna let it hurt me anymore. Because
what if me picking Grand Rapids to lose is what caused them not to lose?
Well, that's just 40 chess at that point.
Like,
you know what though? I was kind of bullish on the Griffins at first. I feel like I kind of had to pick them because they're my beat, but I like their offense had really dried up heading into it. There was already the power play issues before the playoffs even started, and now it's even more apparent.
I mean, and they're going up
beforehand, you could say like, okay, well, at least Edvinson and Zarnik are up in Detroit, but now you have no excuse to not score in the power play. So for them to continue not doing it spells to me that there's a bigger issue at hand. Right now,
and they're going up against a team like Rockford that will like beat them. They will wear them out, and Grand Rapids is already tired.
You gotta.
They had such a battle in the regular season to even like make it to where they are right now. Like they're exhausted, and freaking Rockford's gonna take advantage of that. That's why I got Rockford. I mean,
I think I'm taking Rockford as of right now. You're right now. Like you give me a prediction. You tell me you pick one team or the other. That power play is not getting it done, son. Give me Rockford in 5. Why not? Rockford's not scared to go in and play in Van Andel right now. They beat them there like 3 straight times.
Yeah,
wake up. Wake up. So
your home ice advantage means nothing to them.
Yeah. So if you need a wake up call, your beat writer just said you're gonna lose. So let's see what you're made of there, Yanni.
Yeah,
anyway, that's Taps for one more week. We're gonna come back next Friday.
Hopefully,
are you hyped? We're hyped. We will see you next week.
I'm mad that I was right about Abbotsford.
Yeah.